A very good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. I didn't really get a time or opportunity to test the mic, but I hope you can hear me well. Perfect. So my name is Anshuman Wahal. A very good afternoon to all in presence. I am the customer advisory lead and I represent SAP, being the solution provider for all sort of businesses, being the pioneer that SAP is in business software. So I represent SAP today. Over my career, spanning 22 years, 22, 25 years, I have been involved with multiple businesses. We have talked to multiple business owners and we have helped them solve their critical business problems, leveraging technology. It's not only about SAP, it's about having a perspective on how technology can partner you in your growth aspirations, in your growth plans. So I'm going to start off this talk track with a small little anecdote. I'm sure most of you have heard about this anecdote, but I think I'll start off with this anecdote. It's about Mr. Albert Einstein. I hope we all know this guy. So one day what happened, Mr. Einstein was ambling around the lawns of Princeton University with one of his assistants. And that is when his assistant mentioned to him that, sir, the question paper for second year students is exactly the same as was there a few years back. And Mr. Einstein, the great guy he just calmly said, it doesn't really matter. And quick came the repartee, so what do you mean? They are exactly the same as was the last year. And again, Mr. Einstein calmly replied, it doesn't really matter because the answers to the questions have changed. Now imagine if Mr. Einstein was not really into physics and astrophysics, but into business. What would have happened to these questions, these age-old questions that all business leaders, all business owners really struggle with? How do we increase our market share? How do we enhance our TAM? How do we go deeper into tier 2, tier 3 cities? How do we premiumize our products? And what do we do to maintain that gap or enhance that gap from my top line to the bottom line? Well, a few years back, probably these questions could have been answered in terms of setting up a new store, having new distributor channels open, probably spending something on print media ad. But today, the answers have changed. And answers have changed because India, as we know, has changed. Today, we are third largest economy of the world, the most populous country in the world, the most connected country in the world in terms of internet penetration, access to mobile telephony. And also, we are the very much cradle of all the startups. We are one of the most bustling ecosystems when it comes to incubation, when it comes to the capital availability for new startups, new business owners. So in all that, I mean, we have moved great paces from being the closed, reserved economy a few years back to a very well connected, very fertile ground for the new upcoming businesses. So that's the opportunity that lies in India. I'm sure speakers before me have talked much about what India has to offer, but I just want to give you a perspective, a small perspective as to what this digitization has done. And I would not limit myself talking about the internet penetration and the mobile telephony users, how we have more than 1 billion mobile phone users, how internet is accessible to close to 1 billion people in India, and that too at rates which are probably lowest across the world. But also from the perspective where the government of India has come together, it has brought all its instruments together, all the powers vested in them together to make India what India is today. So even if we talk about UPI, the master stroke from the, again, initiative of Government of India, that overnight digitalized the entire way we used to interact with the rickshawala or the sabzi wala or the probably the corner street panwala. So, and that's where that digitization has empowered even the small business owners to have a bank account, to be formalized into the economy and go about their businesses as usual, probably in a better fashion, in a more convenient fashion, right? And then again, add on top of it, the infrastructure development that we see in India at the breakneck speed. New highways come every now and then. We don't even know. I mean, if you happen to visit a little bit outside Delhi, you would see a new highway being prepared, being tarred. So the breakneck speed of infrastructure development in India is also something that is contributing big time to help the last mile connectivity that was already missing to a certain extent. Yeah, and then and not only limited to this, the rail network, the focus that we have seen in the recent times towards the rail network, towards leveraging our waterways for transportation of goods, for transportation of cargo. So there is a definite focus by the government of India to reduce the transportation costs. And these are all the tailwinds that I'm talking about that gives our business a fillip, right? So I have already talked about how startup ecosystem in India is bustling, how it's flourishing. We are the third largest ecosystem in the world for startups. 112 unicorns. I think I'm prohibited to use that word. Just the panelists before me, they didn't really like that word. But yes, the fact remains the same. We are very much the cradle of the new businesses, and the shoots of new businesses would spring out from this very fertile land with the opportunity that is being presented in India. Coming to the D2C, but again, the point is, all this is fine, but how is internet actually boiling down to being the business that we want? What it has done is it has unified this otherwise very, very varied country in terms of ecology, in terms of topography, in terms of ethnicity, but internet is what brings us all together. So we are all on the same Facebook, we are all on the same WhatsApp, we are shopping on the same platforms. So internet has been one great unifying force that has brought together the customer base for the new startups, new companies, and even the existing companies that are into the D2C space. I'm sorry. Now talking about D2C, how is it different from the erstwhile business models where you would go into a store, pick up the goods, pay for it, come back? The customer has been at the very center of this entire business model. The customers are today free to explore the market. If all the stores are but an application on your phone, me being a customer, I would definitely want to look at different stores, what delivery timelines they are offering, how friendly are their return policies, what is the cost difference, how are the reviews. So I, being a customer, hooked onto a digital platform, I'm free to explore without even having to step out of my house, right? And then comes the customer's propensity towards how they make their business decisions. So while the customers are free to explore what they want to, and while the customer has access to all your catalogs, all your product lines, they still want to interact with the businesses that they find trustworthy, that they find secure. Every now and then, I'm sure you would receive a link on your Facebook saying, 90% discount on Ray-Ban, 90% discount on expensive perfumes, and so on and so forth. But we all know we don't click those links. We know those are clickbaits. But idea here is that we want to come across as a secure platform for our customers to do business with us. So that's about how interaction plays a big role when it comes to D2C propagation. And then finally, they choose a supplier or a vendor or a business that they want to engage with based on multiple categories of price, relevance, a confidence score, so on and so forth. Each customer is unique, by the way, how they prioritize their different criteria before making a buy. But the organizations also need to react to this changed reality. And how they will have to react is by understanding what customers are looking for. Not every customer would just be looking for price. There would be customers who keep quality before price. There would be customers who keep delivery timelines before price and quality, so on and so forth. As many customers, so many criteria, right? So companies really do want to understand what's going through a customer's mind. And then they want to engage them when the iron is hot and when it's time to hit it with the hammer. They want to make sure that when the time is apt for the customer to make that purchase decision, we want to be there in front of him. We want to be there in their shopping basket. And then again, digital is all fine. When it comes to real world, we'll have to deliver on what we have promised. And the delivery times, as they have crashed, we are getting same-day deliveries, 10-day delivery, quick commerce is a big thing now. So given all that, we have to ensure that our supply chain processes are supremely well-oiled in order to not only deliver the goods to customer, but the return channel should also be as much convenient. Right? So what we have seen. So I represent SAP today. SAP has been at the forefront of providing business solutions to companies of various sizes across industry sectors. And there are certain few inputs that we receive from our field team. And we have industry practices. And the next slide is basically curated to represent what we have actually seen in our customer engagements, what customers talk us about. So for the D2C businesses, there are 5 major areas of focus. The supreme one being the strong customer relation, because customer is at the center of everything. Customer is what we target. Customer is what gets us our bread and butter. Next is the business expansion, innovation and agility. Our processes should be innovative, agile, easier to execute. And then the efficient operations, wherein we also talked about how supply chain, internal, external, our collaboration with our suppliers, plays a very key role in how much of a promise are we able to deliver to our customers. And then the most important pillar of talent management. It's not only restricted to D2C businesses. You talk about B2B, B2C, government to non-government, any kind of business, talent management, talent acquisition, talent retention. I think that plays on the minds of every CFO. Okay. So I have just compiled a few lists of business challenges that D2C companies face. It's not an exhaustive list, and it would be a sin to say that every business faces the same challenges and same risks. But yes, this is what has come out as a trend when we go around talking to our customers who are already operating in this particular industry segment. The customers really want to understand the preferences of the businesses. When I say customers, the businesses are our customers. So businesses of today, especially in the D2C space, they are leaving no stone unturned when it comes to understanding the customer's preferences, because the idea again is to acquire a customer, to cater to his needs, and to retain him for as long as possible to enhance our CLV. And then brand recall value. I heard somebody talk about how if you are thinking about, say, pet food, there's a particular brand that should come to your mind. So that's about the brand stickiness. So to imbibe that, to burn that brand image on the brains of the customers, organizations of today, that's what organizations of today are vying for. And then business expansion. The challenges that most of the businesses face, even apart from D2C space, is that of the competition. Given the very compact supply chain expanse of a D2C company, because you are operating digitally, your customers are there digitally, you are connecting through social platforms and so on and so forth. So nothing stops me as being a non-business to replicate your model and do the same thing as you are doing. So that is where this competitive mode gets deepened and it gets widened. So competition is something that we want to ward off. We want to bring our own USPs, our own unique perspectives of doing business. Then comes the hard talk. We had just had a panel talking about how the investments, the investors are looking at both the sides of the penny before giving it out to the businesses and so on and so forth. So working capital management, a very practical problem to solve for any business. A very practical problem to solve, because there's nothing called unlimited working capital. It's just so much money in hand, and we have to juggle it through whether I spend it on marketing, whether I spend it on product development, whether I open a physical store, or how do I go about it. But then this money should come back to me. And the idea here is to crash my cash conversion cycles so that I can use the same money repetitively in different areas of business to grow and to meet my aspirations. Regulation and compliance, something that is beyond us. That is something that is decided somewhere in the toposphere and percolated down to us. But then we have to make sure that while we bring that uniqueness in the business, while we try to shorten our cycles, we have to stay compliant and we have to report back those compliance, because even the investors look at it, right? And then innovation and agility. We live in the age of AI, ML, Industry 4.0. We have bots doing most of the chatting exercises for us. So that's what businesses need to adopt. That's what the customers that we have talked to have talked us back on, saying that this is what we need to adopt, but we do not really need where to start from, or what can be my probable use cases. I have a few in mind, but then we need help. We need some sort of consulting wherein you can bring us the entire showcase of what you have to offer, and then we can pick and choose as to what makes the most difference to my business, right? Insights to business data and the KPI-based monitoring. Again, I heard somebody on the panel saying that, this KPI is what you need to tap on every few minutes of the day just to make sure that your business is being driven in the direction you want it to go, and it's performing. And if something is not performing, probably you'll have to kind of intervene and set it right. So all these things, these are the adoption desires of the organizations of today, looking at the goals of tomorrow. Efficient operations, we talk about internal supply chain, the biggest challenge. The external supply chain, again, a big enough challenge. What we want to do is we want to keep a tab on where my inventory is, how much of it is sellable, what is in transit, how much can I run a promotion on a particular product because I have a lot of inventory in hand and I want to reduce my inventory carrying costs also. How do I make sure my inventory carrying costs, how do I procure material in such a manner that my inventory carrying costs is minimum, because it's an overhead which gets passed on to customer that blunts your edge when it comes to price comparison, right? So all these challenges and more is what we have heard our customers in D2C space talk to us about. What we have seen them adopt as an industry strategy is, again, hyper-personalization. I think that lies at the very core of D2C, how we conduct our business, how we create customer-specific strategies that can help us in long run, maintaining a very healthy relationship with the customer, optimizing channel strategy, what I sell online, what I sell through my distributors, what I sell exclusively online through my portal, and so on and so forth. So deciding these strategies are very key to the D2C businesses, is what our customers has told us. Now, what SAP, as the provider of the business solutions, what we have done is we have aligned our portfolio exactly with the industry strategy, because this gives us free consulting as to where the industry is headed. And then it becomes easier for us to build and package solutions for the businesses of tomorrow. Before I go any deeper onto this slide, and I had the opportunity to talk to some of the founders, I want to bring one thing very clearly out in the open. SAP is not an ERP company. For long, we have been seen as ERP company, which is hard to maintain, probably expensive to procure. But we are not a cloud company, and I think this diagram spells it out very well. Cloud ERP or ERP lies at the very heart of our solutions. But then on top of it, we have industry-specific solutions that somebody, say, from retail can use to have their seasons built in, their sizes, their colors, all that stuff built in, and somebody from manufacturing can have their variants built in, the interchangeable parts can be tackled. So all these are industry-specific add-ons that can sit on top of your ERP and help you run your businesses. Apart from that, we have specialized suite of products spanning from customer relationship management, spend management, customer relationship management. Again, we have an elaborate set of products. I have a slide to that. I'm not sure if I'll get the chance to take you deeper into that. But yes, the idea here is to keep your core, the cloud ERP. That's the first brick that goes in. And it helps you run all your business processes, the core business processes, your AR, your AP, your inventory, your production, your project management, program management, you're dealing with your vendors, you're dealing with the customers, order management, invoice management, everything gets clarified in ERP, and then you can advance as you grow. So it's not that first day you'll have to adopt everything. These are scalable solutions, interplugged into each other. You may choose certain aspects of it, you may defer the other aspects of it for a later point, right? So, although I did not have much of a time to cover entire thing, but the idea here is to introduce you to the SAP and how technology within our internal processes can help solve biggest of our challenges. As I promised, this is the CX portfolio. I'm not going to take you deeper into it, but if you look across this arc, you would find marketing is taken care of, your sales is taken care of, your customer data is taken care of. Customer data cloud is something that collaborates across all these platforms and make sure that customer has a unique experience, a unified experience rather, whether he's dealing with you digitally or physically in a store, right? So I think that's about it. I'll just leave you with the last slide, which will give you a glimpse as to what are the D2C companies or what we have done in startup space. There we have a lot of this. Again, this list is not exhaustive, but this will give you a sneak peek into the businesses that we have dealt with, we have collaborated with, and the businesses that are making the most of their ERP investments. With that, I think I'll end this talk